We're sick of being used by politicians. Gain back control of our fishing and all this. All the promises have not materialised.
If we vote for Brexit, we'll save this industry.
We're going to become, once again, an independent coastal state.
We will be able to ban these huge Hoover trawlers.
Brexit it will deliver and is delivering a huge uplift in quota.
Fishing was like the poster child for Brexit at one point. If anyone was going to win from this vote, it was going to be the fishing communities. And here we are several years later, and industrial fishing is really rife and the small-scale fishing communities are still losing. We decided to get this boat, head out to sea, and just see for ourselves the destruction that's happening.
Greenpeace is on a mission to expose destructive fishing practices in British waters. For 6 months, its boats will patrol ostensibly protected areas off the south coast, looking for super trawlers with nets a mile long.
I'm Martin Yorwarth and I was part of Operation Ocean Witness.
And my name is Fiona Nicholls and I was also part of Operation Ocean Witness. We were based out of Newhaven, which is on the south coast of Sussex.
Been living in Newhaven about 5 years now. We've just seen the fishery go down and down to a point where now many of us are packing up or being displaced now. The fleet's probably a third of the size of it was from when I first come.
It's had it, it's finished. Government's killed it.
You think fishing's
dead? I think it's dead, I think they've killed it.
Yeah, I just want these big boats gone from inshore. Them bigger boats, it just kills it. Just fair, that's all we wanted.
We knew that there was a lot of industrial fishing happening out in the channel, but we didn't know the full extent of it, and that was why it was really important to go out there and see it ourselves.
Well, the sea beaver came to Newhaven. I was intrigued, so I thought, let's introduce ourselves, and after a few conversations, I quite quickly realised that Greenpeace were there to help us.
Newhaven, sea beaver requesting permission outbound.
There was a core crew of around 6 people, always based down in Newhaven, that went out on the boat as often as we could. I couldn't get over that every single time we head out to sea, we would see an industrial fishing vessel, more often than not, in a marine protected area, and that is totally legal.
The UK has 76 offshore marine protected areas, and they need to be off limits to any destructive activity, including industrial fishing. But the reality is there's really no protection at all in them.
The sea's had so much overfishing here. You've got to have an area to rest it.
It's absolutely legal and okay in the eyes of the government to fish in marine protected areas as much as industrial fishing vessels want, and that's what drastically needs to change.
Good morning, sir. You've been fishing in a marine protected area in the past 2 days, and the fishing techniques you're using right now are a very grave concern for all the small-scale fishing vessels in the UK. Will you cease fishing and return to port, please?
During one of our very early patrols, we headed out to sea and we saw these really big industrial fishing boats. I had a chat with one of the fishermen and they were like, "You've seen a fly shooter. You will see them over and over again now that you know what to look out for."
Biggest problem for us is the fly shooters, that's for sure. One of those ships will catch more fish in 1 hour than we can catch all year.
How fast can they go? How fast can they go?
Well, he's doing 10.
And then out of nowhere, this fly shooter started coming straight towards us.
Did you have permission to record our work? We don't like that. You make an obstruction for us to do our work. We have just more steaming than 1 hour, and you are still following us. Believe and don't record any of our work.
Hank Senior, Sea Beaver. Yes, we understand what you're saying. We are here peacefully monitoring fishing practices in this area.
It was scary to be charged at. I remember one of the deckhands looking over to me and she just had this look of like, are we safe?
What you've got is you've got technical advancement, huge boats with technically advanced gear, and the sea and nature doesn't recognise that and they can't cope with it. It's nothing about nationalism or anything like that. It's about big business and overfishing. And the other member states, many of them have had enough of it as well, including the Dutch, including the Belgians and including the French. They've done so much damage in the channel, there's just nothing left.
I can't believe it, they let it go on. I just can't believe it. But what gets me, all us lot, you can't afford a cup of tea, right? And they build new boats weekly. You're sitting there like that. Another 2 went in last week. It's unbelievable. I know you lot come under a lot of criticism over dropping them boulders, but I actually thought it was a good thing.
Thank you.
But the only thing, because that's the MMO's fucking problem. The MMO are on us constant for trivial things, right? And they let that go on and on and on and on. And they must be able to watch them on their VMSs, not AIS, but they all must have VMS, right? They watch that lot go on and they chose to do nothing.
Thank you for talking to us.
Just get on with your job, do it.
Get on with our jobs, that's it.
I think what was shocking about it was just to see the scale of what they were doing, to see the length of the nets, and then when you see them winch it back in and to see the amount of fish that they've caught, it just brought home, I think, just how damaging this kind of fishing is. If you saw a bulldozer go into a nature reserve and churn it all up, people would be up in arms, rightly so, but because it's happening here, and for most people it is invisible, then it feels like it's not on anyone's agenda.
Come through Banner Holden. I'm out here with Greenpeace. We're patrolling the waters, looking for super trawlers and fly shooters. I think there needs to be more action on behalf of the government to ensure these protections are put in place. It says a lot that we have to get up and do it ourselves, which is essentially what Greenpeace is. It's, you know, people power in action, and it's been an educational day for sure.
It's not just problems with fly shooters in the channel, but some of the biggest factory ships in the world operating here.
Between these large factory ships and then the big fly shooters and that, we ain't going to end up with an industry in the channel. The trawl he probably tows could probably swallow St Paul's Cathedral without a problem. There shouldn't be vessels like this in the channel because it leaves nothing for the rest of us. At the moment, it doesn't seem like there's anybody controlling what's going on. It needs somebody to take the bull by the horns and actually do something about it.
It's an emergency. We've got serious problems here in the channel. We've got to act urgently to sort this mess out.
After we'd been going out on patrol for several months in the channel, we'd sort of been thinking about how can we make sure that this message really hits home and that government know what we want from them.
And we just said, let's just get out front of Parliament and make a show of it.
And we start today with a state of emergency that has been declared in the English Channel by fishing groups and charities.
We are on the Thames today with fishermen from the south and east coast.
and we are here to take a message direct to government. There is an emergency in our seas. People are coming home with empty nets.
DEFRA says all fishing vessels in UK waters have to abide by regulations, including those on sustainability. But those sailing on Parliament today say none of that goes far enough.
We've been banging on for years about the destruction in the fishing industry. Our coast is finished for fishing. We've got no political home fishermen anymore. People openly say, whatever you do in a line yourself or a Greenpeace, they throw rocks in the sea. Well, I tell you what, I open my arms to someone who'll help me. When you're drowning, don't clutch no straw. Well, we're clutching that straw, and that's Greenpeace, that is at the moment.
Bringing all those fishermen together for the event was really lovely. There was a lot of shared experiences, people had come from all over. I think the only thing that wasn't good about it was no ministers came to hear the calls to action from fishermen, from Greenpeace. I think it was just a really poor show from government that they didn't even send somebody along.
The fly shooters come and plunder our coast. The longshoremen, its inherent host. No fish left at all. We sail to Lowestoft, justice the call. Out of necessity, because of empty halls, 30 years of overfishing rules. I think what's happened to us as coastal community and fishermen will go down in the history books. The sea's an amazing place, it'll recover very quickly, it just needs managing properly. We need to build the campaign, this is just the very start of a big campaign. The new world is going to look a little bit more like the old world. And we need to learn from the old ways and from older civilisations how they lived on this earth. Because if we are to protect the earth and the seas and the oceans, we need to learn from these indigenous peoples that have been doing it for years.